What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me, if you can hear me. What's up, Gabriella? What's up, Ryan? What's up, Jacek? What's up, Shefo? We got Rod in the house. I can see you barely lit. We got Andres. We got Marianne. And we got a bunch of people whose cameras aren't on. So I'm going to start throwing you out of this room as we speak. If you don't think I'm going to do it, just watch me. I have a policy that if I put on a suit and tie in the summer, then I require to see the whites of your eyes. And I'm about to drop some serious knowledge when it comes to artificial intelligence. I'm going to share with you a video that I haven't released yet to the public that is a former Google official telling you what's really going on with AI. At the end of this conversation, he said, Brian, all right, he said, Brian, the stuff you see on Google Bard right now, which is their AI model. How many people here have used ChatGPT, by the way, or Google Bard? Just put your hands up. So Ryan has, Gabriella has, Andrew has. He said, Brian, we had that technology in 2017. He says, what do you think we've created in 6 years? Wake up, Brian. You don't have any idea what's going on when it comes to the AI development. So this same guy, I'm going to share a video with you. It's Mo Gaudet. He was the former chief business development officer of Google X, which is where they did all of their AI research. I'm going to show you what he's telling me, as well as MIT professors, people in their top level. And then I'm going to show you the AI deals we're investing in right now, about to write $1 million check into the AI company that we think will kill OpenAI. I'm going to show you how we're positioning ourselves for the future and why AI could destroy us, but at the same time, it could be the way that we create wealth and create a great way in the future. So that's what I'm about to do. Like I said, I'm going to throw some people out. So Chris C, I don't know who you are, and I'm never going to know who you are because I just threw you out. And Henry, I'm about to chuck you out as well. I need to see faces, folks, or I always like to remove people. Henry's out. And Martini, please remove anybody else because I love to see it. How many people are ready to learn a lot about AI here? Raise your hands. Let me just get a quick survey. Raise your hands if you think, or if you're concerned, there's a chance that AI could kill us all. Come on, hands up if you think there's a chance. No chance, Jessica? Really? No chance, Andres? No chance, Deepak? No chance, Jeff? Marianne, okay, good. There's a chance. Hell, there's a chance my 7-year-old could kill us, but it's a small chance, right? Now, armed with AI, we'll see. But look, I think we need to wake up. I'm not a doomsday person, but I'm also not blind. And all of the experts I speak to on my show, when I WhatsApp them later, and we have WhatsApp conversations that are as long as my arm, they all tell me, Brian, I couldn't tell you how I really felt. I'm actually scared and worried, but I don't like to tell the public that because I don't want to scare people, okay? I don't want to scare people, but I like being upfront and straight with you about the dangers. At the same time, there are tons of opportunities. I also think we're running out of time. I believe we literally have months left to change the future. And that's why we're investing about $3 million right now this quarter into a variety of companies in the blockchain and the metaverse and artificial intelligence and elsewhere in order to change the future. I'm going to show you how we're investing and how you can create generational wealth in the process. So it's going to be a lot to cover. We're going to move fast. Is everybody ready to go here? Yeah, Martini, should I check out a couple more people as well? Nicolaj Banker, you got such a cool name, man. Sounds like you come from the Netherlands. Might have to throw you out as well. That's right. Martini, I'll leave it up to you to do that. Is everybody ready? Let's do this. Ready? Come on, show me some love. All right, come on, let's do this. All right. So let me share this presentation. This is what we're looking at today. Can everybody see this beautiful picture of me, non-AI generated, maybe a little bit. Help me with that. And the headline that was in the Daily Mail here just recently that said AI could wipe out humanity. Now, whether you believe in this or not, I never remember the Daily Mail saying the internet could wipe out humanity, or the steam engine could wipe out humanity, or Bitcoin could wipe out humanity. Did anybody here ever see that headline? No, not really, right? So there is something going on here. And underneath it says threat as bad as nuclear war must be tackled. It says tech bosses. And look, there's a lot of people saying that this could be a big danger. I think there is a real danger here, and I'll explain why. But at the same time, there's a tremendous opportunity. I don't think you should be paralyzed with fear or put your head in the sand. And I'm going to show you exactly what we're doing behind the scenes to really profit from this and guide AI to be developed in a correct way. How many people here would like to see AI developed in an ethical way that doesn't kill us all? How about that, right? Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. And I'm going to show you how we're literally doing this as we speak behind the scenes. Who here is already with me inside the investment club that's already investing in these deals? So Ryan, I see you here as well. I think we have Lynn in there. We have a few other people. So there's some people on this call that are actually investing alongside of us right now. And I'll explain more about that later. So today I want to talk about how AI could wipe out humanity, and I'm going to show you how you can learn how to profit from AI investing as well. So let's jump into this and look at the headlines. First of all, experts are saying that artificial intelligence could threaten extinction. That means all 8 billion of us dead. All right. And it's not just one or two people saying this, it's a lot of people saying this. OpenAI, who makes ChatGPT, former top safety researcher, so you'd think they know a little bit about what they're talking about, says there's a 10 to 20% chance the tech will take over with many or most humans dead. How many people like those odds? 10 or 20% chance, right? Caroline's like, Gabriella's like, nah, no problem. Let's roll the dice. Let's go. Yeah, come on, 10 or 20%. That's 1 out of 5. We're gone, right? That concerns me, okay? And it's not like some weirdo saying this on a podcast. This is like the people with the greatest AI product on the market right now. So I'm listening. What else? This guy, Eric Schmidt, okay, this guy for 15 years was at the top levels of Google. He was the CEO and then he was the chairman. And he said, this is a quote from him, AI has the power to kill many people. Actually, if you look at the exact quote on the right, he didn't say many people. He said many, 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 many people. Gabriella, does that concern you that he repeats the same word 4 times, even though he probably had an Ivy League education? Rochelle Nixon, does that worry a little bit? Is he trying to tell us something? I try to read between the lines with these experts. And a lot of them, they look really scared when they're doing interviews. Raise your hand if you've seen that with some of these experts, right? Sam Altman and the rest, right? Rochelle, you know what I'm talking about, right? They seem like scared and they know a lot more than you do, right? And they're always like, please regulate us. Please regulate us. It's always like, I can't say everything in front of the AI. Please regulate us, right? So like, get me out of here right now. So that's what they're saying. And I'm trying to listen. What else? Sam Altman himself has said it could replace experienced professionals within 10 years. But that's actually pretty conservative because we're seeing other places saying it's going to be less. The godfather of AI. And by the way, all of my guests have told me that Geoffrey Hinton is considered the OG gangster guy. He's the guy that believed in large language models, neural nets way before anybody did. He is warning of the dangers and he quit Google to do that. All right, that's a big deal. What else? The OpenAI leaders have called for regulation so it doesn't destroy humanity. These are their words, destroy humanity, the risks of super intelligent AI. So this is happening. And of course, right here in London, British Telecom, which is one of the big companies here, is cutting up to 55,000 jobs. And they're openly saying that 1/5 of those are being replaced with AI. That probably means more like 2/5 or 3/5. But like this is happening right now. Goldman Sachs, our good friends that always give us good news, and we know are always looking out for our interests, have said 300 million full-time jobs worldwide to be replaced. Folks, that's like about 5 to 8% of the entire workforce. That's the kind of thing that can cause recession. That's the kind of thing that can cause riots in the streets, that can cause governments to go bankrupt when this happens, right? This is real. This is very real. And guess what the punchline is? It's white collar workers that are going to get replaced first, not the cab drivers, not the factory workers. It's the lawyers and the programmers. Did anybody see that coming? Right? Those were the cushy jobs. That's what your mom told you to be when you were younger, right, Gabriella? Why don't you get a good job like a lawyer or a doctor? They could be the ones to go. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So we see more happening. NVIDIA, this massive chip maker, has now joined the $1 trillion club. It's only 7 technology companies in the world that are more than $1 trillion, all because there's a huge frenzy for their chips that are going to power all the AI happening in the future. All right, so there's tons of opportunity. And of course, we're seeing the AI wars right now. ChatGPT is taking on Google and Google Bard, and they're fighting each other, and they're basically racing to the bottom. They're taking out all the safety precautions. They're plugging the AI into the live internet. They're teaching it how to computer code, and they're allowing other AIs to control other AIs and prompt them. By the way, these are considered the The three cardinal no-nos in AI. You never connect the AI to a live internet. You never teach the AI how to code because it can make itself better. And you never allow the AI to partner up with another AI. This is like, everybody knows this in AI for the last 20 years. And now we've thrown all of that out the window. So everybody with me here, right? Why? Because Google is worried that its stock's going to go from $1 trillion of value to zero. And by the way, that's where it's going to go if they don't figure out AI. So how do you beat ChatGPT? How many people here have used Bard? Ryan, have you used Bard? Anybody here use Bard? Bard's okay, but it's not as good as ChatGPT. So what do? They connect it to the live internet because ChatGPT is not connected. They're connected to the internet back to 2021. So you can see what they do. One ups the ante and one ups the ante, right? Just like we made our first nuclear missile and then Russia made another one. Then we made 10 and they made 20. Then we made 100 and they made 2,000. This is what two parties do when they're racing to the bottom, and it ends up potentially destroying everybody. This is happening right now in front of us. This is master plan for Satya Nadella, the head of Google. He wants to destroy Google, right? All these companies are in competition with each other. And you might say Apple's a hardware company and they don't care about Google, and Facebook isn't compete with Google because they don't have YouTube. Trust me, they all compete with each other. They all want to see each other die. And they're going to do anything possible to do it because this is a fight to the death. Whoever loses this, their stock price goes to zero. And so we get to see what's happening right now, and it's very dangerous for us. Again, this is what happened with Google. They overruled the risk assessment to launch Bard AI, okay? This is after they sent out a code red in December. They finally realized their entire business model was in danger, and they decided they'd go ahead anyways. And this is what some of my guests are talking about, this massive danger. Luckily, Sundar Pichai, the head of Google, is not sleeping very well at night. Does that make anybody feel better here? He's not sleeping well at night. Does that make you feel better, Ryan? Maybe not so much, right? The problem is, by the way, Mo told me he's a very nice guy. The problem is if he doesn't do this, they'll fire him and find someone else that will. It doesn't matter how ethical he is. The corporate structure of maximizing profits means it will make the decision that is potentially the worst for humanity. And this is what we're dealing with, folks. The White House has now brought all the tech bosses and said they had a moral duty to safeguard society. Does anybody here think the government can regulate AI? Put your hands up if you think they can, right? Anybody here own crypto? Put your hands up if you own crypto. Anybody here? Come on, Ryan. How's the government doing on regulating crypto, which is about 100 times simpler than this? They can't even figure out crypto, how long they've had that. Bitcoin's been around since 2011, and they still can't regulate that. There's no way they can regulate AI. And of course, they're talking about shutting it down, but no one's going to shut it down. Even if you get the corporate America to shut it down, the People's Republic of China is not going to shut it down. So it's impossible to go down that scenario. This is Professor Max Tegmark. He's an MIT professor. Okay, he's the guy that wrote that letter because he's the president of the Future of Life Institute that's funded by Elon Musk. By the way, Elon Musk just announced his new AI company today. We'll be talking about that in another couple of days. He's the one that wrote the letter that said we have to stop AI development for 6 months. Does anybody remember that letter that came out a couple months ago? They said we're going to stop everything, right? I had Max on my show. I graduated MIT about 30 years ago. Oh my gosh, really dating myself here. And he told me what he really thought about what was going on. Listen to this guy, okay? Because he sees this race to zero. He's very worried about what's going to happen. And the beautiful thing I have because of London Real is that I can get the best of the best to come on here and tell us what's going to happen. And we can use this information to help us prepare and to invest. So listen to what Max said.
We are either going to become empowered as a species to really be the masters of our own destiny and use artificial intelligence to solve all the problems we've been stumped by so far, or we're going to go extinct.
I think you have said that when it comes to AI, we're not in an arms race. It's actually a suicide race. Where you think we're headed and why everyone needs to pay attention to this now.
The worst case scenario is lights out for all of us. Why was it that GPT-J seemingly persuaded a Belgian man recently to commit suicide, or that another chatbot tried to convince a New York Times journalist to leave his wife? It was not because some engineer involved in building it was like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna mess with these people. No, it's just they had no idea it was going to do these things. They're gigantic black boxes. Pressing the start button is basically like playing Russian roulette. That's why the biggest threat right now, I think, is instead coming from the private market, where everybody is just trying to make more money. You can make a lot of money on things in the short term, even if you don't understand how they work.
There's no history on this planet of a less intelligent being ever either surviving or having any type of reality that they used to have. There's a good argument to say this is really important to stay aware of.
If we're up against something more intelligent and it wants to get rid of us, it'll be in a way that we can't even imagine. And probably for a reason also that we can't imagine. If we get this right, there's just an enormous upside. So if we can amplify our intelligence with artificial intelligence, it's just mind-boggling how amazing things we could do. Where people can live healthy, wealthy, inspiring lives in a world where AI just helps bring out the best in us.
All right, what do we think of the professor? Good stuff there. We get some knowledge from him, right? Look, he kind of understands the dangers. The important lesson that I learned here is the most intelligent organism, computer, species always dominates this planet, right? Raise your hands if that makes sense to you, right? Are we the strongest animal on the planet? Yes or no? No. Do we have the strongest muscles? No. Do we have the sharpest teeth? No. Are we the biggest? No. What are we? We're the smartest. So what do? We dominate everything. We usually make everything extinct, right? Look at the Americas. What happened to the woolly mammoth? What happened to everything else? All it took was a few humans and some sticks and some stones, and pretty soon we subjugate everything. Would anyone here prefer to exist as a lesser intelligent animal on this earth? Anybody want to be a chicken or a cow on this planet? No. Well, what makes you think when the machines become smarter than us that we're going to have an existence anything different than a cow or a chicken or a dog or a cat? Raise your hand if you think it's going to be any different than that, right? It's the most intelligent, and we won't even be able to fathom what we're doing. And like Max said, when they choose to get rid of us, we won't even understand why. Do you think a cow knows why you're about to put a bullet in its head? Do you think a chicken knows why you stick 10 of them in a cage and they don't get to see their babies? They have no concept of what's going on. The same with us. And Max is worried about this race to zero, right? He calls it Moloch. Moloch is man's way of destroying ourselves without knowing it by trying to look out for our own interests. Does that make sense to everybody, right? So that's Max. Again, I like to get a lot of opinions here. And luckily, because of London Real, I can get the best ones out there. So, but I wanted to give you Max's thoughts. I agree with him somewhat. But then I spoke to Dr. Hugo de Garis, all right? Now, he's an AI scientist that's been doing this for 30, 40 years. Spent time in China, and he wrote a book about what's happening right now about 20 years ago. He calls it the Art-elect War, the Art-elect War. And he sees a future war between what he calls the Terrans and the Cosmos. Basically, two groups of humans. One group is pro-AI, let's build AI to help solve our problems. The other one is pro-human, that says AI is going to kill us. And he believes these two groups are going to get into a war with each other, and that will cause a giga death. That means 1 billion people will die fighting over this war. And he asked me this question. He said, Brian, do we create our exterminators? He was talking about AI research. Now, folks, this episode has blown up on YouTube, right? It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I had to literally hunt down Max in Australia, right? Nobody had talked to him in like 10 years. He's like that professor from the movie War Games, right? I mean, straight out of Central Casting, I had to find him. He's going to be here in London in a couple of months, and we're going to get him in the studio. But I want you to listen to what he said, because this is the other side. This is the other side of what could happen. So listen to what Hugo said.
Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? I mean, I used to say, I'm going to die quietly in my bed, but my grandchildren will be caught up in this horrible conflict that I'm predicting is coming. But now I'm suddenly have question marks. God, I might even see it.
You say that the machines might just take us out in the back and...
Once it can start redesigning itself, you got a an exponential explosion of intelligence. And then our fate as human beings depends on the machine. It's only a question of time before humanity is forced to choose between stopping development in artificial intelligence. I don't see that as realistic. Or we just accept the idea that sooner or later, we, as a human species, we become number two. The answer to that is, as I'm predicting, war.
Do you think China is behind the West right now for AI?
The potential of the Chinese is phenomenal. The Chinese, they've been the dominant power for not just centuries, but for millennia. The last 2 centuries or so, when they're economically dipped, that for them, given their 5,000-year history, is a glitch. It's a historical glitch. So deep down in the Chinese mentality is the push to get back, quote, where we belong.
So can you really isolate and stop the development of AI?
Personally, I feel it's inevitable. Do we build gods or do we build our potential exterminators? That's the issue. Should humanity build Artilex?
All right, how many people think the professor might be up to something? He might be right. Raise your hand if you think this is a potential danger. All right. Okay. You know, Mo, who I'm going to show you soon, came on the show and he said this is important. He said, Brian, I'm not worried about the machines. I'm worried about the humans and what they're going to do with those machines. Does that make sense to everybody here? Right? That's what he's worried about. He said the machines maybe are the least of our problems. And that's what we're going to see over the next, I think, 6 months to 24 months. We're going to see humans using these machines to take the current wealth gap, which has grown massively in 20 years, right? During COVID, there was a billionaire created every single day, a new billionaire, right? So everybody can see this massive wealth gap we have in the world, right? Everyone sees that, right? That's going to be nothing, because when an AI is applied to that wealth gap, the rich are going to get even richer and all the poor are going to be completely subjugated. They'll be unemployed and they'll have nothing. And that's what Mo is really worried about, that period. They call it the pre-singularity. Before the machines are smarter than us, you got to worry about how the humans use those machines. And that's what a lot of these people are talking about. And it's something we need to keep an eye on because it's happening right now. And it's probably happening behind the scenes in a greater degree than we even understand. And so today I want to talk about why these experts are warning and what we need to know about it. I want to talk about bad actors versus good actors. And then I want to literally show you not only how you can invest and profit now, but how we are investing and profiting right now. And I'm going to show you how we do it and how you can do it as well. So let's jump in. We are, by the way, currently investing over $3 million in 3 hot deals this quarter. And we're doing it because of this. This is London Real Ventures. A lot of people don't know about this, but about 2 years ago, we created the world's first media-powered investment firm. This has never been done before. And I believe we probably got a 12 to 18-month head start on anybody doing it. This is what we do. We take our media platform, which is 12 years old. It's had 1 billion views, 5 million subscribers. I've spoken to over 1,000 of the greatest minds in the world. And we use it to help the companies that we invest in. And that's something they can't get these days, because what does a company ultimately want? They don't want money. What do they want? They want customers, right? Does that make sense to everybody, right? Money doesn't help them grow the money at 100x. You have to have customers. And right now we're giving them something they can't get from Andreessen Horowitz. They can't get from Pantera. They can't get from these $10 billion companies. I can get 100,000 pairs of eyeballs on their product, which will help with future investments, future hires, future developers, customers, everything. And that's why we are seeing the best deals in the world right now. These are some of the companies we've already invested in that are at the top of their field, making massive moves and already making some amazing returns. And this is why we are able to offer our community access to these deals. And again, just to be clear, I'm not getting these deals because of my good looks. I'm not getting this because of my MIT degree. I'm getting this because of London Real. And so we can all leverage the London Real platform to get us access to deals that would normally be restricted for the very, very ultra rich and ultra connected. Does that make sense to everybody? That's probably the best explanation I've given, Martini, right? So that's what we do. These are some of the deals we're investing in as we speak. This is Orange Comet. They're an incredible company, a bunch of ex-Hollywood execs that have gone into Web3 metaverse. And they're building an entertainment company that's revolutionizing metaverse experiences. They're working with some of the biggest actors in the world, the biggest Hollywood franchises, and they're absolutely crushing it. They really know how to create sizzle. You know, a lot of the metaverse people don't know how to create the sizzle. So they take their Hollywood experience and they apply it to the blockchain, and it's amazing what they're doing. This is Vadim, the CEO, Eric Pulier, was just recently in the studio here. He was on a whirlwind tour, just come from the Monaco Grand Prix, came to London, was talking to investors. Now he's back in LA, and they're creating metaverses for Fortune 100 companies like PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, Deloitte & Touche, Google, Slack. These are all their clients. And again, we've invested with them because we've seen their product and it'll absolutely blow you away. By the way, we're getting incredible prices for these companies because we're buying right now is what people consider the bear market, which means when the market comes back, we're looking to make 100x on our money, 200, 300, 500, 1,000x returns on our money. I'll show you how we're doing that later. This is Open, which is our hottest new Web3 super app, right? It's what happens when Amazon meets WhatsApp, right? Super apps are very big in Asia. They're not big in the West, but when you have one, it's an app that does everything. We're literally closing this deal out as we speak. We've just now gotten access to invest alongside some of the biggest investors in the world into a brand new $1 billion fund that invests in digital asset ecosystem companies. These are the kind of the bricks and mortar of the blockchain industry. These are companies that already have 50 million plus in revenue that are going to be the future Amazons, Apples, Googles, and Metas of blockchain, metaverse, everything. And because of my relationship with the founder, I'm getting access to our investment club members to get in on this. We love this guy. He's so plugged in. And here's the kicker. When he invests in a brand new company, because we've invested in his funds, he gives us the chance to put money into specific deals for the ones we like. It's called co-investing. So there's just many more benefits. And of course, this is the huge one, the pièce de résistance, as they would say in France, the open AI killer. This is the deal we're extremely excited about it. We think this company potentially could be the biggest company in the world, and it will dominate the future of AI and AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which I'll explain a little bit on later. We're closing this deal probably in the next few days as well. I believe this statement. Tell me if you agree. The greatest way to predict the future is to create it. Raise your hand if you feel me on this. The greatest way to predict the future is to create it, right? Uh-oh, I got a smile out of Rachel. You know, it's good, that's good, all right? So again, a lot of people, when they hear what I just told them, they're gonna wanna go bury themselves in the sand. They're gonna wanna go have about 10 drinks. I used to do that, I don't do that anymore. It doesn't work, by the way. They're gonna wanna run away. They're gonna wanna protest their governments, right? Go down to parliament with the big white signs. I don't think that works. I do know something that does work, because back in 2020, I took a small group of people with something we called the London Real Army, which is people just like you around the world, and a small amount of money. And we went head to head against $1 trillion technology company, and we won. We went head to head against the World Health Organization, Ofcom, and other places trying to censor us. And we won. We put out our messages to millions and millions of people. So we have a track record of pushing back and doing big things with a small group of people and some very targeted resources. And so we will create the future of AI. And if you don't think we can do it, well, you better think again. All right. Is that clear for everybody? So this is our ethos. This is our thinking on this. And again, we've done this before, so we're very confident we're going to do it again. This is our mission statement, by the way, at London Real, which is the same as our mission for London Real Ventures. We are here to create a mass scale transformation of humanity into a fully empowered, conscious, and cooperative species. That's what we want, right? That's what we're here for. I do that with my media, with my academy, with our live events, and now with our investments. We want to empower you as a human. We want to make you more conscious, and we want to make you more cooperative, right? So that's the only AI that I'm going to build. I'm not going to build an AI that's going to disempower you, that's going to make you less conscious, and that's going to make us try to compete and kill each other. That's not what we're here. So we're attracting a lot of companies that have the same ethos as us. Everybody with me on this? Very important. And of course, just to be very honest with you, I also have some other motivations, right? Two, to be specific. There are these two little bandits that keep following me around. I think they're related to me. These are my sons, Caden and Damon, right? Caden just turned 7. And he asked me the other day in the park, he said, what happens with the robots in the future? What happens when they get smarter than us, Dad? I was like, whoa, where'd that come from? And so these guys are already asking questions. And the truth is this, and I don't like to think about it too much, but in 10 years from now, when they turn 16 and 17, their future is going to be something that I don't even think we can imagine right now. Raise your hands if you think I might be right there. I don't even think we can conceive of that world, right? By then, computers will be smarter than us. How many people think artificial intelligence will be smarter than us in 10 years? And if your hand's not up, I don't know where you've been living. You're living in a hole somewhere, right? Now, how many people think it could be 10 times smarter than us in the future? And if it's 10, how much longer to 100, Rachel, and to 1,000 and to 1,000,000, right? By the way, Einstein had 160 IQ. ChatGPT right now is 150 IQ. Did anybody know that, by the way? It's 150. We've never experienced anything that has a 320 IQ, but that's just a doubling, or 300 of ChatGPT. That's just a doubling. And what happens when it doubles again, and it doubles again, and it doubles again? Do you even think you could be in the same room and know what's going on when you're around an entity that has 1,000 IQ or a 10,000 IQ or 100,000 IQ? It's like being around a fly and trying to outsmart the fly, although flies are pretty smart. Like, that's the kind of intelligence. And at that point, you can say, oh, we'll just turn it off, right? How many people think we can just turn it off at that point? Like, good luck with that. So this is real. And for me, it's also personal. And so I get up a little earlier in the morning. I mean, I just did an episode for 2 hours. I've been here all day, and I'm here with you right now for as long as it takes, because this is important to me. And quite frankly, we need you in this fight with us if we have any chance. So I appreciate you being here, and I want to tell you exactly what's going on. So this is Mo Gaudet. I had him remotely on the show a few months ago, and he was here in the studio last week, and he said, Brian, Google is creating God. Now, normally I wouldn't think much if somebody told me that on the street, but this guy worked at Google. He didn't just work at Google on like the email system. He worked at Google X, which is where they do all their top secret projects. He left in 2017, because he saw what they were doing with AI and it scared the pants off of him. Then he wrote a book called Scary Smart, The Future of AI in 2021, which I highly recommend you read. And now he's talking openly about what's happening with AI. I want to play for you the video of him on his recent appearance here. And nobody's seen this one. Martini, you haven't seen this. We haven't published this publicly. So everybody here has seen the hot new sneak peek. This is Mo in the studio talking about what we can expect from AI.
While you and I are spending a couple of hours chatting about this, there is someone investing hundreds of millions of dollars to create a criminal AI. Artificial intelligence is going to be the last human innovation. We've never created a nuclear weapon that is capable of creating other nuclear weapons.
You said by 2035, 37, we will be in a world that is just completely unrecognizable to what we are now.
That hockey stick of the technology development curve moved from this very long and boring, no progress, and suddenly it goes through the roof. We still don't talk about it.
I love what you said. The enemy is never going to be the machine. Don't make the machine your enemy. And we should make sure that never happens. Just like you make sure you never hit your kids.
There will be a point where we will continue to abuse that abundance of intelligence, and then a point at which AI will say, enough of this. If Superman came to planet Earth and the ethics of the Superman adopted parents were make us more money, he would have become a supervillain. It's not the superpower that determines if Superman is good or bad. It's the ethics that inform the superpower what to do.
So we should just be on our best behavior.
Think of them as those prodigies of intelligence that are waiting there to tell you, Daddy, Mommy, tell me what to do. If we tell them to kill, they will kill. If we tell them to cure cancer, they will.
All right, what do we think of Mo? We like Mo. I think he's got some important things to say. He said a couple things I wanted to just repeat. He said, this is the last human innovation. That's it. This is the last thing we will innovate. Doesn't that blow your mind? Right? Because once this is innovated, the AI will do all future innovations. I mean, that really is a sobering thought. If you really think about that, right? Think of all the things we've innovated in the past: the internet, the mobile phone, the steam engine, the heart monitor, whatever. This is the last one, because once it's built and once it becomes smarter than us, by definition, it will innovate everything going forward. And every day that goes by, it will get smarter and it will accelerate those innovations. They call this singularity when that computer is now smarter than us. And when the singularity happens, people are talking about Nobel Prize discoveries every second. Like that's that level of intellect that we can't even comprehend. You saw him talking about nuclear devices. Nuclear devices are very dangerous, right? Raise your hand if you agree with that statement, right? They could kill all of humanity, just like AI. Okay, great. But nuclear devices can't build bigger nuclear devices. It takes a human to do that, right? But AI can build better AI. You know how they're testing AI systems right now? Do you know how they test it and how they feed it? They use AIs to test AIs now. They use AI generated text to now feed AIs. They don't need us. And now they can code. So we're getting into a dangerous loop. And the other thing he said is by 2035 or 37, which is about 12 years from now, he said, we will not even be able to conceive of that existence. Like you can't even imagine it because it's so many exponential levels of development that you couldn't even imagine it. And we'll look back to this time and the people then will not even be able to imagine our existence right now. It will be so fundamentally different. And again, say you think his numbers are off. How many people think his numbers are off too early? Come on, be honest. Anybody? Even, okay, Jacek, even if you don't, then I'll say, okay, what about 2045? 2055? Tell you what about 2123? That's 100 years from now. But it's gonna happen. It's inevitable. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. Raise your hands if you think it's just inevitable. I mean, how much do you want to go forward? 100, 1,000 years? But like, the transformer, which is the piece of technology that helped all this happen, has been built. You can't unbuild that thing, right? So this is the reality we have to just accept, and that's okay. We just need to accept it, and now we can move on and just deal with it, and that's what we're doing right now. So I appreciate people like Mo coming on and telling me what's going on, and I want to now talk about what we can learn from that. So again, Google Mind DeepMind CEO, who by the way used to work at Google and Mo knew really well. Demis, who's very well respected, he said AGI, artificial general intelligence, possible in a few years. And by the way, all my experts are now saying 2 to 3 years before artificial general intelligence, which means there's an AI that's smarter than you or me in all ways. Thumbs up if that makes sense to everybody. All ways. Raise your hand if you think that's right. 2 or 3 years. Raise your hand if you think it's right. Not everybody does. Guess what? ChatGPT, by the way, is better than all of you right now at writing. Raise your hand if you think you can write better than ChatGPT. No, seriously, I want to see who's better than ChatGPT. Okay, who can make images better than Midjourney? Are you an artist? Can you make an image better than Midjourney? Are you kidding me? You've seen these images? No. Who can write a legal document better than ChatGPT? Anybody? No. Who can write me 10 emails right now in about 60 seconds better than Chat? Nobody. It can pass the bar exam. It can pass medical exams. It can do all that. It's already smarter than you in almost everything. Now, it's true, Rachel, ChatGPT can't clean the cat box. You got one up on it right now, right? It can't do that. It can't do some things, right? But pretty soon it'll be able to do that too. And when it can do all that, we're talking about another level. So even this guy is considered one of the smartest people in this space is saying AGI is possible in 2 to 3 years. That really changes everything, folks. Once there is a human that can do what we do better, why do we need any humans? Because I can copy it 8 billion times. Why do we need any of us anymore? This is what you got to ask yourself. It's not obvious. A couple other headlines. Again, we know about the jobs. It's going to be a massive wealth inequality that's going to cause a lot of social unrest as we get up to the singularity. Again, 25% of all jobs being automated. We've already heard that as well. And of course, Yuval Harari, who wrote the book Sapiens, he believes that the AI are going to create stories and misinformation in a way where we don't even know what's going on. Now we've got the presidential election coming up next year in America, and we're expecting lots of AI generated fake and deep fake and stories on the back of that in order to create confusion. How many people think that probably will happen? Raise your hands, right? Well, what happens when, okay, so you see a video of Biden that you're not sure is right. You see a video of Trump saying something kind of crazy and you're not sure if that's right. What if you see one of those every single second, right? What if you see news reports that are fake and there are 1,000 of them or 1,000 times more of those compared to what you read at the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal? Do you think we'll be in a state of confusion? Anybody? Maybe, right? What happens when they start giving up these storylines that we don't even know whether it's true or to believe, or these incidents happening here? All of a sudden we're lost in a story. By the way, those stories used to be owned by major religions. That's how they controlled us, right? Or governments or our education system. But in the future, you can see this quote on the bottom right. He says, soon we might find ourselves living inside the dreams and fantasies of an alien artificial intelligence. And that's what he means. The core competency of all of Yuval's works are that humans tell each other stories. What is a corporation? It's a story. What is a religion? A story. What is a nation? It's a story. And if you buy into the story, you can get groups of people to act in a way that they wouldn't act individually. Does that make sense to everybody here? Right? You wouldn't have put a man on the moon unless you could convince a nation that it's all one thing and that you're fighting another nation, Russia, to be the first on the moon. That's the only way you get these people to work together. If we were a bunch of monkeys running around, there's no way. And so I think it's worth listening to him because he makes some good points. Again, want to be clear about this technology. ChatGPT went to 100 million users in 2 months. It's the fastest growing technology ever in the history of humanity. It's not exponential, it's a vertical adoption curve. And again, now we're in an arms race now, and we're living through it as we speak. Of course, the president's saying it's a danger. Thanks for that. And you know, even the guy from OpenAI is saying it could end the world or make tons of money. I would rather do the latter, to be honest. And so we just saw a report by McKinsey coming out talking about the economic potential of generative AI. Look at these numbers, folks. It's saying that it could top $4.4 trillion annually. Annually. The entire GDP here in Britain was 3.1 trillion. And this is annually. And that could double if you talk about what happens when you put it into software. Look at these estimates here on this graph on the over on the right. Potentially a $25 trillion marketplace. By the way, there's only 7 technology companies over $1 trillion. This trumps all of the technology value in the world. Does everyone see how massive this is going to be? I think they're even underestimating this stuff because AI affects everything. It affects agriculture, manufacturing, healthcare, law, banking, governments. It touches everything. Some things more than others. Some things it'll take 40% of the jobs out. Some it'll take 4%, but it's going to touch everything. The final thing I really want to point out here, which is crucial, is this leaked memo that came out of Google. A lot of people are talking about this, but not enough in my opinion. The shocking thing about this memo is that an insider inside Google said that we're losing this race. And this is what they said that's going to surprise you. They said, so is ChatGPT. We're both losing the race. Who are they losing it to? A third faction you can see on the right here that's quietly eating their lunch. Who is it? Open source. Okay? Let me tell you why. The Meta, former Facebook, large language model called Llama was leaked to the public and all the weightings were leaked. What happened? Random people all around the world started playing with and experimenting. I'm talking high school students. I'm talking college students. I'm talking ex-professors. I'm talking random people start playing with this thing. Within days, they're seeing major developments that they couldn't do inside their company for 6 years and 20,000 of the best scientists and programmers in the world. Because open source uses the hive mind, right? Potentially billions of people all collaborating to try to get something work it. Look at what he says now on this moment. Many of the ideas are coming from ordinary people. The barrier to entry has dropped from a major company with billions of dollars to now one person, an evening, and a beefy laptop, right? So this is a person inside a $1 trillion company saying that all the innovation is going to come from open source. Raise your hand if that blows you away. Does anybody that blow anybody away, right? And I didn't see this coming at first. We were big believers in this company we're investing in, but I still thought, man, I mean, OpenAI, they got $10 billion from Google. They have to get all these GPUs. They got the top scientists in the world, but now it's looking like open source is the way forward. By the way, if you're in computer development, Linux, open source was major for all software development. I mentioned crypto earlier. How many people own crypto, by the way, Bitcoin or any other piece? That's all open source, folks. How did that market innovate so fast? If the banks were left to create crypto, would they have done any of this? Of course not. So open source has brought some of the greatest innovations to this planet, but to see it happening in AI, this is the big thing I want everyone to pay attention to. By the way, here's a graph, and you can see two different models. One is DALL-E, which is, by the way, OpenAI's closed source image generation for AI. One is Stable Diffusion, which is an open source one. You can see back in August 24th of 2022, the open source started winning. And today it produces 4 times the volume of the closed source model. So there's already a history of this happening with AI. And look, I was back at MIT last year, and I stopped by and saw a bunch of my professors at the MIT Sloan School of Management, and they said, Brian, the AI productivity boom is coming. We can see it here right on, because they're right on the cutting edge. I stopped by my fraternity house where 50 young men are about to go out into the world, armed, some of the smartest kids in the world. And I said, where are you guys going? You going to Wall Street like I did? You going to work for McKinsey? You going to work for Google? They said, no, we're all going to AI startups, blockchain startups, metaverse startups. So follow the money, follow the talent, folks. It's not hard. Enter our hero, Dr. Ben Goertzel. All right. I met Ben and took this picture 4 years ago when he came to my studio as the CEO and chief scientist of Singularity Net and told me about AI. And I'm not going to lie, it was an amazing conversation. I was fascinated. I said, when is it going to take over? Blah, blah, blah. And he left the studio, and an hour later, I couldn't spell AI. I forgot all about it, right? Because the next day, Dan Pena came and he was yelling. And then the next day, David Goggins came and he was doing pull-ups. And I lost track because AI wasn't important 4 years ago. Does everybody feel me? Raise your hand. You forgive me? You forgive me? Come on, right? So what happened? When ChatGPT dropped in December, who's the first person I called? Not Goggins, not Pena, it's Goertzel. And I said, Ben, what's going on? And he said, hey, Brian, guess what? Our token's gone through the roof. We're making hundreds of millions of dollars because our token AGIX, everybody's pumping money because they all want to get a piece of AI and nobody can invest in OpenAI. So Ben's token was going through the roof. And I said, Ben, we got to get you back on the show. So Ben came back on and Ben told me the state of AI. He told me the state of AI compared with when he had actually been on the show. You've got to listen to what he said because it's really important. Again, Ben is considered one of the most senior people in this space. And this was Ben in this year, 2023, talking about the state of AI post ChatGPT.
We are leaping into the great unknown, creating machines that are much smarter than us. This is either exciting or frightening or both, depending on your personality.
Will AI exterminate humanity?
Eliezer Yudkowsky, a decade or two ago, he said, the AI does not love you. The AI does not hate you, but it can use your atoms for something else. Actually, my view tends to be that AI is the greatest hope we have to save humanity from exterminating itself.
I don't think anyone in the world understands how this will be the most transformational time in human history.
I have a 5-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old granddaughter. By the time they're turned 18, the whole texture of human life and the nature of the world they grow up into is going to be incredibly different from the world that we see now. Like, they're never going to have to get jobs. On the whole, I'm an optimist. I have a spiritual or intuitive feeling that things are going to come out awesomely in the next 10 years. We're going to overcome material scarcity. We're going to create machines that can feed into our brains via brain-computer interfacing and help uplift human consciousness. And we're going to port into virtual worlds and achieve like states of intelligence and awareness going way beyond anything we can imagine now. So that's That's what the Captain Kirk in my head thinks. We're on the verge of engineered utopia. It's incredible. It's a remarkably weird and fortuitous thing to be living at such a time.
We like Ben Goertzel. We feeling Dr. Ben Goertzel, right? I like Ben because he has both. He is concerned about the future. He's realistic about the future, but he's optimistic about the future. By the way, him and Dr. Hugo used to be really good buddies. They worked, they were in China together, working on AI projects together. There's a movie about them back in the day. But Ben sees hope and he sees solution. And so after that interview came on, I called up Ben afterwards. We had a Zoom meeting. I said, Ben, look, London Real Ventures is doing huge things this year. We're writing big checks. Would you be our AI advisor, right? And advise us on the AI companies we should invest in, right? Does that make sense, right? So I asked Ben for that. And he said, look, Brian, he's like, your values are the same as ours here at Singularity Net. We're into decentralization. We don't want a bunch of tech giants to control the future. We want to keep this open source. But he's like, let me come back to you. So 2 weeks later, he came back and he said, Brian, I want you to meet somebody. And he got me on a phone call with his COO. And he said, look, we are building a brand new company and it's our response to ChatGPT. It's our large language model, but it's done with the intention of creating artificial general intelligence. And so he introduced me to his COO at the time. It was an incredible woman named Janet Adams. And so I met with Janet. A couple of days later in London, they had a get together for Singularity Net. And she told me about this new company called Zarka. By the way, Janet's the COO of Singularity Net, and she's the co-CEO of Zarka. And it blew me away what they were doing because it was the company I was looking for ever since December that I wanted to invest in. And meanwhile, at the same time, very hard to invest in any company in AI right now. And so Janet came on and she blew me away with her vision for Zarka. And I want to just show you exactly what she said. So this is Janet Adams talking about Singularity Net's answer to basically ChatGPT. So this is Janet talking about Zarka.
Artificial general intelligence is completely different to narrow AI. AGI is more purpose-driven. It's a watershed moment for humanity.
Tell me about Zarka. This is the project that will create the AGI. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model at massive scale. What is it?
Zarka is the accumulation of decades of research from teams containing the best artificial intelligence scientists in the world. We uniquely harness that expertise with our even more unique capabilities in neural symbolic techniques and the deeply advanced mathematics that Dr. Ben Goertzel, Dr. Matt Ickley, Dr. Alexei Potapov, and our top scientist, Sergei Shalyapin, have been working on for decades. We are building the most powerful large models ever invented.
With Zarka and Singularity Net and everything you've always done, it's always been about openness. It's always been about decentralization.
We'll be using blockchain technology to enable anybody to help train models. We're giving birth to a new species of sentient life in the universe. The actual greatest imperative is that they are used for good. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Our goal, our mission is to eradicate inequalities.
When I look at the rest of the market now, I don't see any of those motivations because a corporation, by definition, is going to be motivated by money. You're the only project that even is thinking in any way, shape, or form about these.
We are going to transform what it means to be human on our planet. I foresee a future in which humans then evolve to a next level of being where we are actually conscious, where we feel our full joy engulfed in bliss and ecstasy of the joy of living, the joy of each other. I see a future of joy.
Booyah. Do we like Janet? We feeling some energy there? Look, I think Janet brings something really important to the table, right? She's an incredible balancing force in, quite frankly, a group of AI scientists that are dominated by men on the spectrum, shall we say, right? And I know this because that's where I went to school with all of them. right? And so that can be great. They're great scientists, but sometimes you really need it to balance out. And again, Zarka vision of the future is one that's decentralized, that's open source. And they were talking about this before the memo leaked, by the way. And so this is a company we're extremely excited about, we're investing in, and we think it ticks all the boxes on everything that's happening. And so, yeah, that's what I'd say. I appreciate a bunch of comments coming in, by the way. You know, some people are, you know, saying, Given said, she really resonated with what Mo said as far as CAI as a child, what you tell it to do, it will do. If you kill it, will, etc. A couple other people are concerned about ChatGPT censorship. I think Kelvin said something about that, where if you ask it a question, it'll give you like a canned answer with that Silicon Valley censorship, right? Does everyone know what I'm talking about with Silicon Valley censorship? We were subject to that same censorship in 2020. So trust me, you're preaching to the choir when it comes to that. And again, this is again why we want a decentralized option like Zarka, because this will be up to us. This will be empowered by us. This will be powered by us. This will be micropayments for our data to actually use the AI. There's so many issues here. It's not even funny. And Joseph is saying we still knew we need humans because we allow AI to take over our lives. There's no point to learn. Yeah, there's some real issues here, Joseph, as well. So I appreciate all the comments coming through. And again, with Zarka is where we really got some hope as far as what was happening. Now that on top of the leaked memo made us really excited that we were on the right track. And so I went to Consensus in Texas. Actually, Ryan was there with me. He was working the whole conference, scooping up lots of deals for our investment club. And we're really excited about this OpenAI killer deal. Our ethoses are aligned. And like I said, we're about to write $1 million check to that company right now and support them along the way. We're actually seeing a bunch of other AI deals as well that are smaller scale. And I'll show you a few more details on Zarka shortly. So look, folks, the conclusion is this: 2023 is the year of AI. This will not wait for you. 2024 will be too late. I actually think probably September is going to be too late for this stuff. All of the chess pieces are moving now. Mistral AI out of France got $100 million. It's a 4-week-old company, right? 4-week-old. Another company just got $1 billion worth of financing, right? And that company's like a year old. There's so much money going into this space, and this will not go back. Like I said, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. So you're asking me, well, how do we invest? Now I want to show you exactly how we do this behind the scenes. Well, it's a good question. First of all, you have to find the right sector, and then you have to find the hottest trend. We think we found it right now with artificial intelligence and open source artificial intelligence. Very specific, you have to be specific there. With a team of seasoned AI professionals that have been working together for 6 to 10 years. By the way, those scientists that Janet mentioned, they don't want to work for OpenAI. They don't want to work for Google. They want to work for Dr. Ben Goertzel. They believe so passionately in what they're doing. And by the way, these scientists, this is like their dream come true. They've lived 30, 40 years on this planet hoping this will happen. This is the purpose of their whole life. This isn't just to get a paycheck for them. They're not going to work for Ben and then go work for Instagram and then go work for TikTok, right? This is their life. Is that clear for everybody? Like for them, this is everything, right? So you want to get the right talent as well. And so in order to do that, you need deal flow, deal flow, deal flow. This is crucial. If you're on my course right now, if you're Ryan and Lynn, who are inside my investment club, they know I say this all the time. Because let's say, for example, I didn't know Ben. Well, I wouldn't be talking about Zarka because I wouldn't even know this deal was happening, let alone get in early on to be a big investor in this deal. And by the way, I'm also introducing them to lots of people to invest in this deal. So we need deal flow. If you don't see the deals, you could be the smartest AI person in the world. You could have $1 billion worth of funding. You could also have a really cool channel, right? Media channel called London Real. But if you don't see the deals, then you're going to miss out on everything. Is that clear for everybody here, right? Okay. So when I'm not interviewing, people like Ed Griffith, who I just spent 2 hours with, when I'm not teaching in my academy, teaching crypto and DeFi and all these things, when I'm not talking to you on a masterclass, I'm on the road looking for the next deal. And this is me in Dubai last year at the Future Blockchain Summit and GITEX, which is the largest technology conference in the world, 100,000 people under one roof at a conference. It's nuts. It takes 3 hours to walk from one side to the other. It's crazy. And I'm hanging with the biggest influencers in the world, members of the government like Dr. Marwan al-Zaruni, and some multi-billion-dollar funds there as well that have big dollar bills on their walls, right? So this is what I'm doing to sort of field lab. I'll be back there in October if anybody wants to join me, because I'll be like a fixture there. And I think I'm going to the Satoshi Roundtable in February. So I've got to be there to get the deals. Then from there, I went back to Paris, and I'm hanging out with private dinners with venture capitalists, introducing some of their hottest prospects as far as companies. I'm doing media. I filmed a documentary film, and I actually met with some of our portfolio companies. In the upper right, you'll see Swissborg and Cross the Ages. These are two of the companies we've already invested in. Cross the Ages is the hottest blockchain gaming company on the planet, and Swissborg is the bank of the future. They're basically going to be the NASDAQ of crypto, and that's going to help us also list a bunch of our investments, but I'll get to that later. Then I'm back to London, and I'm at Token 2049, and I'm hanging out with Yatsu. Yatsu runs Animoca Brands. It's a $4 billion hedge fund, basically. They basically invested in over 400 companies in the gaming metaverse space. Yatsu believes that AI will make crypto flourish because he said AI have to talk to each other. They have to make micropayments. Therefore, it should be on the blockchain. I think he's right. And Yat is probably one of the smartest guys, the most well-connected guy. And we're investing in one of their companies right now as we speak. Actually, Open was one of his deals. And because of my relationship with Yat, we've gotten in on the deal that already closed. So again, these things really pay off, and we offer all those things to you inside our investment club. Hanging out with more portfolio companies, hanging out with the alpacas. You never know, you might need a furry friend in the future. So I got that covered. And then back to Paris, we're hanging out with Tim Draper on the right. He's a legendary Silicon Valley investor. On the bottom is Dan Tapiero. He's got a $1 billion fund he's creating that we might or might not be investing in. More portfolio companies. And then I went to Texas to hang out with Ben, hang out with Ryan. See, Ryan, I'm making you famous. Ryan, wave your hand. There's Ryan. The beard's gotten smaller, the hair's gotten bigger. And I also got to hang out with William Shatner in the bottom right-hand corner. That's Captain Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Anybody fans of the original Star Trek? Come on, raise your hand if you're old. No, nobody here? Robert's like, yeah, bro. Okay, thanks, Simeon. Appreciate you. I got to hang out with him because he was doing a digital collectible for the company on the top, which is Dave Broom, right? So Orange Comet did William Shatner's digital collectible, and so they introduced me, and I got to meet him. And then Yatsu got to meet William Shatner, and then Yatsu met one of our portfolio companies. So who knows? They might invest in Orange Comet when they go public, before they go public next year, and then we'll make 300, 400, 500x on our money. That'll be nice. What did we put in that, Ryan? We put $500,000 into Orange Comet, right? So 100x turns that into 50 million. What, 500x turns that into 250 million. Wait, am I off there? Yeah, and so we just made a lot of money, right? So everybody in the investment club just made 10 million. So like, this is what we're looking to do, folks. And we believe this is the sector to create massive amounts of wealth and empower the companies that are going to change the future in the right way. Does that make sense? A little bit what we're doing, right? So that's what we're doing. By the way, we encourage all of our members to do the same, to go to conferences. Ryan went to this one. Carol went to the one in Paris. They're going out there sourcing deals so we can get the next hot deal. You've got to invest with the best, folks. You have to be able to see all the deals happening all the time. This is a list of the AI deals that we're looking at. We see lists like that every single day. We're constantly getting up to speed on everything that's happening. We have a CEO pitching their company live on a Zoom call just like this every single week inside our investment club. I think people like Ryan and Lynn tune in just to see the blood sport. It's like Shark Tank. I go at them, I try to draw blood, and at the end they put their fingers up like this, and we either keep them on the Zoom call or we cut them off. Martini cuts off their head, right? And then look, if they can answer hard questions that we all ask them in real time, then maybe they can get our money. And if they can't, they got to go. The good news is the whole team really gets experienced on how to listen to companies, do due diligence, and run the numbers and do everything. So everybody learns really, really fast. And all these companies want to pitch us because they see that we've got the golden goose, which is this media exposure that can make or break their company. Plus, we write them a check on top of that. So this is what we're doing, folks. And the last part here, this is crucial. So pay attention to this, but you've got to understand the financial tools. If you don't do this, you might give your money to some random company out there in a random space with the wrong instrument. And trust me, you'll never see that money again. There's a lot of nonsense when it goes into any type of a market that's as hyped up as AI. Does that make sense to everybody? Right? There's tons of goofballs out there with their AI startup. That's just a bunch of nonsense. We've seen a lot of garbage, and we see the good garbage. Imagine seeing the bad garbage. You've got to understand the financial tools. We believe this, and this is how we're investing, that early stage artificial intelligence equity investment and some tokens, it's the hottest opportunity out there right now. Why? You buy at super low valuations. Some of the valuations we're buying on these companies are shockingly low. Sometimes a competitor is worth $1 billion and we're buying these companies for 50 million. Like sometimes a competitor is worth 3 billion and we're buying these companies at 100 million. So we're seeing massive, massive low valuation. You see the biggest gains possible. You invest in the biggest dislocation of wealth in human history. It's very high risk. I'm not gonna lie, it's high risk, but it's an even higher reward. And so we invest in early stage funding. There's 3 types of early stage funding. There's seed funding, startup funding, and early growth funding. By the way, this is all when the company is still not making money. Is that clear to everybody, right? These do not have a profit, these companies, otherwise they don't want your money. Right, Andres? Right, Pamela? Right, Marek? Right, Daniel? Son? They don't want your money if they're making money. They want your money if they haven't yet made money, and that's why they'll give you a piece of their company. Who wants to see an example of how you can make a ton of money doing this? Anybody? All right, let me tell you a story of these 2 individuals. Mark Zuckerberg on the left, fancies himself a bit of an MMA fighter. By the way, I'm available if he wants to try his luck in the octagon, let him know. We can do it on Threads, whatever. And on the right is Peter Thiel, legendary Silicon Valley investor. I'm gonna show you how Peter took $500,000 and turned it into $1 billion using the same instruments we use inside our investment club. Let me show you how. In 2004, Peter invested in Facebook. He wrote a $500,000 check and he invested via, wait for it, early stage equity private placement, the same thing we've been talking about. At the time, it valued Facebook for $10 million, not a lot of money. 8 years later, Facebook went public. They sold shares to now you and me. So Rachel, now you get to buy the shares of Facebook. Pamela, Consuelo, Simeon, now you get to buy these shares, right? But you don't get them for $10 million. You have to pay $100 billion valuation for that company, right? And on Wall Street, we all know what IPOs are for. You know what they're for, Rachel? They're for selling stock to the suckers. Yeah. Get the public all warmed up so we can sell them these crappy shares, right? And that's what we do with IPOs, right? I can tell you more about that later. What happened next? Peter Thiel cashed out 2,300x return on his investment. That's a 230,000% gain. Has anyone ever heard of anyone making that kind of money? 230,000% return. I worked for 15 years at the highest levels of international finance. I started on Wall Street, then I worked at the First National Bank of Chicago. I moved to London, worked in credit derivatives for 9 years. My clients were Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, all those. I still never saw a 230,000% gain. That's a lot, but this is what you get in early stage equity. And by the way, what happened to the public who bought those shares, Rachel? What happened to those, Andres and Robert? What happened? Did the stock price go up? It goes down. Of course it goes down, right? Because the public are sheep and sheep get slaughtered. That's the way Wall Street treats the public. If you ever go buy a share on an exchange, or let's be honest, buy a coin on a crypto exchange, don't fool yourself. All of the money has already been made by someone like Peter Thiel. That's just the truth. And so the conclusion is this: the wealthy invest in early stage. The poor stay poor and the rich get richer. And by the way, a simple $10,000 investment would have made you $23 million. $23 million. Who here could have come up with 10 grand if it was going to make you 23 million? Anybody? Your hands aren't up, then you really are self-sabotaging yourself, and maybe you should continue somewhere else far away from me, right? What about 5,000? What about 1,000? Can anybody come up with 1,000? You get 2.3 million, okay? This is what I mean by asymmetric returns. This is what we're looking to do here, and this is what we're doing right now. And of course, the public markets are for suckers. Is anybody here on crypto? Just raise your hand if you own some crypto. Just want to see anybody here have some crypto. Okay, good. By the way, this happens in the crypto markets. It's called a pre-sale token. That means you buy the tokens before they go public for a fixed price. Let me give you an example of that. Does anybody know this blockchain? It's called Solana. Anybody heard of it? Like the 9th largest blockchain out there. They did a pre-sale. They did it here. Can everybody see this price? How many cents is that? 4 cents. They did it on April 5th, 2018. By the way, this is all on the blockchain. Don't take my word for it. It's all there. What did they do? They raised $3.17 million. They sold 79 million tokens. Where is Solana today? It's about 20 bucks. So you would have made a 59,000% return. By the way, it was at 200 at one point, which means you would have made more than Peter Thiel made on his investment. Anybody here buy Solana at 4 cents? Anybody? What about you, Marek? Given I don't believe you. There's always some goofball that said they did, right? Cool, send me a mill then, just for fun. Nobody bought it at 4 cents because you didn't have deal flow. You didn't know someone like me, and you didn't even know this happens. So you bought it on the exchange. For all I know, I mean, I'm not pointing fingers, Marek, but you probably paid 100 bucks for Solana, right? A lot of people did. A lot of people did. And so this is happening all the time. You don't know about it. And that's why the bankers and the wealthy people don't want you knowing about this. All my banker buddies hate the fact that I'm teaching you this stuff. They hate me. They don't talk to me anymore. That's okay. So how do you make money? You have to pull the trigger, folks. That's the truth. If you watch this masterclass and you go home and you don't do anything, nothing's going to happen. Matter of fact, with the peer group you have right now, you can watch all the podcasts you want, but you're never really going to make a change, in my opinion. But I'll get to that. This is how we pull the trigger. These are snapshots of over 200 pitch decks that we've received inside the investment club. I think it's like 300 now. I got to update this. You can see a bunch of them. This is a deal flow monitor. This is every single deal we've looked at. We track it in a monitor. It's the deal name. It's the blockchain it's on. If it's a crypto deal, the day it's due. We talk about how much they're looking to raise: 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. What's the valuation? 50 million, 100 million, a billion. Is it a token agreement? Is it an equity agreement? We track everything inside the investment club. This is really helpful because after 18 months of CEOs pitching all the time, you see hundreds and hundreds of deals and you see patterns. This is our Orange Comet deal with David Broom. This is an incredible company that's blowing up. He obviously did William Shatner, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Scottie Pippen's the Chicago Bulls. They're doing deals with the NFL, with the Fast and Furious movie franchise, The Walking Dead. They're doing amazing things. I did an interview with Dave. You can go watch it online, but it's blown up. It's almost been watched 100,000 times. I saw him in Texas. He said, Brian, this is incredible. Our investors are talking about this. We're getting clients. He's like, we just love dealing with you guys. We love being a part of this with you guys. Then, of course, we have Swissborg, which is the #1 crypto wealth manager in Europe. They are building the bank of the future. This is the NASDAQ of the blockchain. They're going to help us list a lot of our deals in the future and make money when we go public with these token deals or these equity deals. And here's our investment in Swissborg. Then we've got Vatom, which is literally building the metaverses of the most important companies in the world. Like I said, PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, Google, you name it, they're building it. And we're huge fans of them. Eric Poulier was recently in the studio. We dropped that episode as well. This is open, our hottest new Web3 super app. And Jason's going to be here in studio in about a month. This is the TechCrunch article about their raise. This deal is closed, by the way. It closed last year. $100 million valuation. They raised $28 million from the biggest names in the business: Avalanche, Animoca, Warner Brothers Music, and now London Real Ventures. We called them up after the deal was closed and said, can we get in? This will usually cause a venture capitalist to laugh out loud and hang up the phone. But luckily we know Yad at Animoca, and he said, yeah, Brian, we love your show. Let's get you in. So we're closing this deal out in a couple of days. We can still get you in on this deal. Super excited about this. And of course, the $1 billion fund that's investing in all of the blockchain ecosystem. We couldn't be more excited to get in on something that's usually reserved for massive pension funds, massive wealth. We're getting in and putting $1 million into this thing. And of course, our OpenAI killer, which is Zarka. This is something we're really excited about. This is it. It's the supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic large language model from Singularity Net at massive scale, right? The team is off the charts, right? Probably the single best grouping of AI scientists in the world, led by Ben Goertzel. They only want to work for Ben Goertzel. They've already been working together for 5 years. This company has been pre-incubated. It's not really a startup because they all work together at Singularity Net, right? The ChatGPT moment caused this to happen. But the problem is this, folks. Look at these red circles. Deep neural nets, large language models like ChatGPT, they have no ability to reason in complex world environments. They don't know when they're wrong, and they make stuff up. How many people have experienced that, where the model hallucinates? I asked it something about London Real the other day, and it started making stuff up. Guess I hadn't had on the show. Things about me that I hadn't done yet. I was like, what the hell? This is what they do. It's dangerous. This is how people get killed, by the way. Enter neurosymbolic AI. This is what, by the way, the focus of Singularity Net has specialized in the last few years. By the way, ChatGPT knows nothing about this. These things can meta reason beyond the traded data, and they can use logical reasoning, right? And it's a hybrid form that can actually create intelligence. And it escapes the AI monopoly that's now reserved for the trillion-dollar tech companies. It's open source. They're using smart contracts. It's decentralized, and they want to offer it out to small businesses. This is what we want, folks. Proof of concept this year. They'll be shipping product next year. Estimating revenues of 55 billion. You put 100x multiple on that. It's a $5 trillion company. It's the biggest company in the world. This is our big swing for the fences AI play, and I couldn't be more excited to be doing it with these people because, quite frankly, they're good people, right? This is who I want to trust the future of AI with. You're gonna have to trust it to somebody, right? So literally, my life's kids are in their hands. Okay, I'd rather it be in their hands than some of these other goofballs out there, right? And so this is what's going on. So my question for you is this the next 1000x return investment? Who thinks it could be? We do. Could be more than that. And that's what we do here. That's what we do here inside the investment club, right? We've got the world's first media-powered investment firm. We have what I call our quadruple threat. This is what we do. I put the CEO in the leather chair. I talk to him for 2-3 hours. Apparently, I've gotten good at this over the years. Go figure. I create a piece of beautiful media, Hollywood trailer, an episode, clips, you name it. We distribute it out to 5 million subscribers. Then I connect you with all the people we know in the space and outside of the space. I can introduce you to people that run $10 billion of hedge funds. I can introduce you to specialists in finance. I can introduce you to Navy SEALs. Hell, I can introduce you to a mafia mob boss if you need somebody's legs broken. I got you, right? Whatever you need, we can connect you. And number 4 is we write you a big fat check. This is why people are loving us. Nobody does the quadruple threat, not even Britney Spears. She's on that triple threat nonsense, right? We got you. So this is what we do. And the question you got to ask yourself right here at the end is, how do you learn how to invest? How do you learn this? I'm going to ask you all right now. I'm going to put you on the spot. The only way you're going to do this is to surround yourself with the best. You can watch another presentation like this. You can listen to another podcast. You can buy another book. How many people here think listening to another podcast is going to teach you how to do something like this? Raise your hand. I'm sorry, folks, it's not. Your brain is going to tell you that, but it's not going to happen. The only way you're going to do this is to surround yourself with the best. How many people believe in this statement? You're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. How many people in your life, be honest, are building the next billion-dollar company? Anyone? How many of those people are doing a TED Talk in the next couple of months? How many of those people are doing something high performance with their life? How many of them are creating tens of millions of dollars for themselves in the next couple of years? How many people have one of those in your life, let alone 5? Not many, right? Because if you did, you wouldn't be here. You'd already be wealthy. And by the way, if you weren't doing this, they wouldn't hang out with you. Because the only reason they're doing well is because they're not hanging out with you. One of my mentors once said to me, Brian, who are you hanging out with? You're hanging out with losers is who you're hanging out with. Now, I'm not saying the same about you, but it's possible. How do you do it? You surround yourself with the best. This is the way I've lived my whole life, right? This is why I took my daughter to Boston last year, because I wanted her to surround herself with the best. She's one of the smartest schools at our high school here in London. And I thought, unless she gets around some hardcore, motivated type A Americans or people going to an American university, she's not going to get pushed. So she went along with it, and now she's hanging out with some of the smartest kids in the world, and it pushed her, but now she's going to the next level. I did the same with MIT. I was one of the smartest kids in my high school. I got to MIT, man, I got smoked. These kids are smart there. But 4 years later, I was beating them. I was getting A's and they weren't, because I understood the game and I leveled up. That's what this is about, folks. This is about your level up. And this is what we do. This is Marianne Bartels. I mean, this woman's incredible. She's one of our founding members. She's a 35-year Wall Street veteran, chief investment officer, Merrill Lynch Bank of America. She's on like CNBC on a regular. She was on like yesterday, right? Martini Encore sent me the video 2 days ago. She's on MSNBC, schooling them about what the economy is doing, inflation, tech stocks. This is your peer group. Marianne invested in Zarka. Marianne invested in Open. Marianne invested in Orange Comet. Marianne invested in Vadim. Why? Because she's smart. She understands money and she understands opportunities. She's on our calls. This is your new peer group, right? You would never, ever get the chance to hang out with Marianne. You might get to meet her one day in your life, but you're not going to hang out with her. You will inside the investment club. We've got 75 of these, by the way. This is Dr. Andrew Haynes. This is his metaverse he built in the sandbox with his NFT gallery. He's a specialist in digital collectibles. He's taught us all about these things. He goes to one of the top executive training schools in Switzerland and hangs out with all the AI scientists. Again, one of your new peer group, right? You get to upgrade your game. This is Dr. Encore, right? Recently became full-time member of London Real Ventures. He reinvented his career. 16 months ago, he was in medicine. Didn't know much about this space. He took my crypto and DeFi academy. 4 weeks later, he joined our advanced program, Kings of DeFi. He was the founding member of the investment club, right, Martini? I still remember that. Martini brought him on, right? He came in and we started pushing him. I said, you got to get on camera. He's like, I don't like my sound of my voice. How many people don't like the sound of your voice when you put yourself on camera? Great. Keep your hand up if you want to stay poor, right? Okay, good. Encore took my challenge. I said, put a video up on YouTube. Just talk about, I don't know, the weather in Canada, whatever. He did it. Next day, he said, next one. Do another one. Do another one. 5 days later, 5 videos. 10 days later, 10 videos. A year later, 365 videos. Hundreds of thousands of views, right? He regularly gets offered $100,000 worth of free tokens to be advisors on companies, and he turns them down. Who here wants to reinvent their career? Come on, somebody does. We all do. Certain points in our life. I'm telling you, crypto and blockchain is the fastest way. You can reinvent your career in 6 months if you go hard into this. 12 months, you're almost like an expert. Again, Encore is now one of the members of your peer group. And there's more and more and more. Ryan here, I mean, Ryan is OG. He understands mining. He understands so much about blockchain. He knows more than I do about blockchain, right? Another one of your peer group. There's people everywhere, 20 countries from around the world. Top level. I'm talking top level litigation attorneys, bankers, people in healthcare, Bitcoin miners, metaverse people from locations all over the world. This is your new peer group. This is how you get wealthy, folks, right? This is how you do it. There's no other way. How many people believe this statement? Your net worth is your net worth. Raise your hand if you think that's true. This is it, folks. It's your peer group, right? It's your peer group. You surround yourself with those 5 people or those 75 people in our case. That's how you get wealthy. Not listen to another podcast, not read another book. If it hasn't worked now, folks, it ain't going to work in the future. And time's running out. And if it's not important enough for you, what about your family? What about your children? What about your grandchildren? What about the people you care about? This is happening right now, folks. This is life or death. Like, this isn't time to screw around anymore. This is a chance to upgrade your network. And so I believe in this philosophy. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. I teach people how to fish. So if you come into this investment club, we teach you how. That's why Ryan, who's on this call, came to me with consensus, and he walked away with like 12 or 14 deals. Like, literally, so he's doing it, right? He's doing that. He's fishing away. Everybody inside is fishing. Nobody's waiting to get given a fish. I didn't do that, and nobody wants that. And that means everybody sticks together. And so, folks, this is why I created the investment club. 2 years ago, we had a chance to invest across the ages via early stage token, pre-sale token. It's now the hottest gaming company in blockchain. It's going to list this year and expected to go to the moon. All right. And at the time, I looked in the mirror and I said, wow, I studied finance at MIT Sloan School, one of the best schools in the world, right? I worked on highest levels of international finance, right? Wall Street, Chicago, London. And I had never heard of any of this pre-sale token nonsense. Honestly, it scared the hell out of me. It really did. And I thought, if it scares me, how is someone like Lynn or Gabrielle or Marianne or Rachel or Anderson, how are you ever going to learn this? There's no way. The bankers don't want you to know this, and schools don't teach you about money. There's no way. And so I thought, we got to teach it. I call it Martini. She was like, we're really busy, Brian, but we found a way to do this. And this has been the greatest community we've ever made, our most successful thing we've ever done so far. And so what we do is every quarter we open up 10 spaces. We are always oversubscribed. Martini is booked 24/7. This woman doesn't sleep, okay? Because she's fielding all these people that want to be a part of this. It's 6 modules, it's 3 months of coursework, it's a 12-month program. Every week we have Zoom calls with top CEOs that pitch their companies, and we get to invest as we wish. By the way, you get to invest in any deal you want. You can invest zero. You can invest as little as $5,000 in any one of these deals, or as much as you want. One of our members just put 100 grand into one deal. Again, that's unheard of. If you ever want to access these deals, you probably need to have to put $250,000 into one of the biggest funds in the world. And by the way, they wouldn't ask you. They would put their money wherever the hell they want to put their money. So this is a completely unique model. By the way, it's a 12-month program, but so far, no one's ever left. So our founding members are there 18 months later. Why? Well, if they know how to fish, why would we want them to leave? They bring in deals, they bring in energy, they bring in capital. So this is effectively a lifetime program. You get access to all the deal flow. You get a full year of our Kings of DeFi program, which is our advanced blockchain. We'll bring you right up the curve with crypto and blockchain if you don't know. Next live call is Thursday next week. This is how we teach remotely. And these are the modules. So I teach in real time, which means I'm constantly up to date with what's going on because these things are changing all the time. I also change the colors of my clothes in real time. Are you feeling any favorites here? Come on, module 2. Who's feeling module 2? Come on, the light blue on the red. Come on. Even Robert De Niro and Christina would be jealous of the look. So we mix this up. We try to keep it fresh for you. And this is our syllabus. Module 1 is what is a blockchain AI metaverse pre-sale. We walk you through the details of what I talked about tonight. That early stage token, early stage equity. Module 2 is what is a SAFT or a SAFE. By the way, raise your hand if you know what a SAFT agreement is. Let me just see what the competency is in this group. One person, Robert. And Ryan knows because he's on our thing. And Lynn knows because she's in our class. Nobody else knows what a SAFT is. Like this is, I mean, that's shocking. I mean, that's scandalous. The fact that you don't know what a SAFT is or a SAFE, and by a SAFT it's a simple agreement for future tokens. A SAFE is a simple agreement for future equity. It's the only way you're ever going to invest in an early stage company. The fact that you don't know that is proof that all the bankers want you to stay poor and the rich get richer. And that's what they do. They save this for their wealthy clients. And the fact that you don't know this is a sign. It means a lot of things. We are the only people teaching this stuff. And we're the only people that are actually investing in this. So anyways, we'll fix that if you join us. Deal Flow Part 1 is we do due diligence on these deals. We talk about the 5 T's. We talk about technology, team. Then we go into tokenomics, terms and conditions. We go through it all. We teach you how to evaluate these companies. Deal Flow Part 2, I show you how to go out and get those deals. What to do, go to the conference, what to wear, what ticket to buy, what rooms to be in, how you interact with those companies to make sure that you get the hottest deal flow. Anybody here have a business card you could take to a conference with you? Raise your hand if you got a business card. Robert, anybody here? Yeah, wait, somebody does, right? Matthew, Kelvin, okay, good. Leave the business card at home, Grandpa, all right? We don't do business cards. We do QR codes on Telegram. When we meet somebody, we take a selfie with them. We shoot the selfie back to the Telegram. We have their pitch deck within the next hour. We can send the pitch deck. Oh, look at Rachel doing that. Send the pitch deck back to headquarters. We start evaluating the deal. We can even get a response sometimes in 24 hours. That's how we roll, folks. Somebody tried to give me a business card and consensus. I was like, ew. I literally looked at him and said, I'm not accepting that. What am I going to do? Stick it in my pocket. Hope I don't lose it. Go back to my hotel later and type in your email address into a computer. Like, what are you, crazy? So we show you how to do this, folks. We'll show you how to source deals. Module 5 is how you nurture these companies. That's why we introduce our companies to some of the people we know. And module 6 is how to get the cash out, folks. Let's get the cash out. We'll put some in our pocket. We'll put the rest back into more deals. Generational wealth, 10, 20, $30 million. That's what we're looking for. This is our Telegram group. This is our Discord group. And this is the investment club. We're oversubscribed. We always are. Everybody wants in this program. We're looking for the right people, by the way. We have 5 confirmed, 2 are on hold. There's only 3 spaces left. That could be 2 spaces. The investment is $50,000. By the way, this is doubling to 100,000 on our next course. Why? Because all the members said this is too cheap. Yes, this is a significant investment, but it's got an unlimited financial return. What I'm going to teach you, you will be using for the next 30, 40, 50 years of your life to invest in early stage. And also you might be doing that with us because at this point, this program is lifetime. So if you price this out over that, it's probably one of the cheapest things you'll ever buy. And look, folks, this is the greatest wealth creation event in human history. It's happening right now. It's not happening in 3 months. It's definitely not happening in 6 months. Your opportunity is right now, and you can learn from people actually investing as we speak. By the way, our special investment opportunity is ending soon. We're closing Zarka, we're closing Open, gone. You'll never be able to invest in those companies again. You'll see them in the future as they make the headlines, and you'll tell your friends down at the pub, oh yeah, I almost invested in Zarka, but I didn't. Why didn't you? I don't know, right? We're gonna be doing this. So you can either do it with us or you can watch us do it, but we're gonna be doing it. By the way, this was our special investment opportunity on our last class. This is a SAFT agreement, by the way, in the upper right-hand corner. It looks complicated. It's not. I'll explain it to you. It's pretty easy. If you would have joined us in the last class, you would have had the opportunity to invest in this deal. What happened? In one day, 24 hours, we made 466% return on our money. So if you had put 10K in that, you would have paid for the course in one day, right? We made our investment club members $300,000 in one day. And by the way, this wasn't a big deal. We were bored this week and we needed something to do. And this came our way and we said, let's do it. We have a track record of success, folks. And this is across the ages. This is Sammy Schlagu, the CEO. Like I said, this is the hottest gaming company out there. They're dominating the App Store. They're selling $1 million worth of NFTs. They're launching the token later this year. We're expecting a 10X pop, and then it's going to go up from there. Folks, we have a track record of success. And this is Jens, one of our founding members. And he called me up the other day and said, Brian, these people don't get it. He was on one of these calls and he saw a lot of your faces. And he said, Brian, I see all these blank faces. These people don't get it. They don't understand. This is the greatest opportunity they've ever had to make a ton of money. And by the way, Jens has invested his whole life. And I said, Jens, I mean, like, what do you want me to do? Like, they're going to miss out. It doesn't matter. We have tons of people. We're going to have a great time. We're all going to make a ton of money. Stop stressing. He said, Brian, I want them to know what they're missing. I said, okay, what do you want to do? He's like, I'm going to make a video and you're going to play it for him. And I was like, I am? Are you sure? He's like, yeah. So he sent this video over to me and he insisted that I play it for you. So this is Jens, one of our founding members. And this is his message for you.
Why should you join the investment club? And the next obvious question is, can I afford to join the investment club? My name is Jens Krautscheid and I am an active investor in stocks and companies since age 14. And risking of stating the obvious, I'm German. Also, I am one of the founding members of the investment club. And I consider my decision to join the investment club as one of the best investment decisions I ever made and I ever will make. Why? We all had this pub talk, this talk at the dinner table where we complained about our hustle we have to do daily. We complained on the workload we have and we try to top up each other who has more stress, who is more hustling. And then sooner or later someone says, well, if I would have been an early stage investor in PayPal, I would be so rich. Or if I would have been an early stage investor in Microsoft, I would be so rich. And this is nice. This is really nice. But let's be honest. If you would have had the chance back then, 1992, to invest in PayPal, would you have pulled the trigger? Would you have invested? Quite likely you wouldn't have, because you couldn't assess the situation. You couldn't value the situation enough. In the investment club, we get these offers on a daily basis. We get the next PayPals on our table. And then we have a team of 50 people, 60 people, of a growing community of people who will do these assessments. And they will say, do this, buy this, this is the way. And then we buy this. And the next question is, can you afford to join the investment club? And the question really should be, can you afford not to join the investment club? Times are getting tougher. AI is taking over. And in what company you want to invest? In which AI company do you want to invest? Do you want to invest in the ones who do the fridges? Or do you want to invest in an early stage Coca-Cola who uses the fridges? It's up to your decision. I tell you now, invest in the investment club and be part of our fabulous, wonderful group. My name is Jens Krautscheid, and I wish you the best decisions of them all.
We feeling Jens? Jens is amazing. Look, he's amazing. Everybody in the group is amazing, to be honest. I mean, look, they're intense individuals. They want to make a ton of money, but they want you to make money as well. And like, that's just that group. It's just an amazing group of people. They're all super positive. They're all super amazing. We couldn't be more blessed. Like, it's the greatest community we ever made in 12 years. And that says a lot. And so look, folks, just to conclude, it only takes one. This is something Marianne Bartels told me on the very first call. She said, Brian, it only takes one. I said, what are you talking about, Marianne? She said, I know people that invested in Uber. I know people that invested in Google, right? Her Wall Street buddies. One deal changed their life forever, changed the life of their children, changed the life of their grandchildren because of the amount of money involved. You saw, right? Peter Thiel, that's 23 million on a tiny investment. So if you don't have one of these in your portfolio, I would argue you're not even investing. You're not even living. One of these will change your game. And so final thoughts are this: don't let 23 pass you by. This is the chance. This is the only chance. Learn early stage investing now. It's going to be here forever. Liquid tokens and equity have limited gains. This is the truth, folks. Bitcoin is not going up 1000x. I'm sorry. Even the Bitcoiners know that. Ethereum is not going up 1000x. Tesla, Apple, you have to go early stage if you want these massive returns. It's just fact. It's like physics. It's fact. You can learn from active investors, not professors, not podcasters, active investors for 50,000. It's a significant investment with an unlimited return on investment. And thanks to Martini, you can thank her later. We've now instituted a payment plan because we had great people trying to get on. They wanted to get in on some of our investments like Zarka and Open, and they couldn't get the whole 50K. So we said, okay, 10,000 a month for 5 months. You can at least get in on these deals. And that's what we did. Because we're not looking for the richest people. I'm not looking for the people with the fancy degrees. I don't need people with all the connections. I want energy, good energy. That's what we're looking for, folks. And so if we can make this happen, great. And it's the best deal flow in the world. So that's what we're doing here, folks. These are Martini's details. You must have a call with Martini if you're interested in this program. She is the gatekeeper. She gives you the yes or no, Roman Colosseum style. And so if you're interested, book a call with her. What I would highly recommend is you not to waste her time, right? We've all made that mistake here once and only once. So you must be serious about this program and serious about joining now if you want to take her time up. She's literally booked around the clock. I don't think she sleeps, but she is there if you're serious about the program and you want to explain to her why you are qualified to be in our club. That's really what that's about. And again, what is your why? They say that for the right why, anyhow is possible. Has anyone ever heard that, right? For the right why, anyhow is possible. So again, find out what's important to you. For me, these boys they will empower me to do anything possible. So if you have a strong enough why, you can do anyhow. So if you really, really want this, if you want to change the future, if you want to provide for your family, if you want to do something positive for this world, then you can find a way to make this happen. And I would say, find a way. And that's it, folks. I'd love to answer some questions. Thank you so much for the time tonight. I really appreciate it. I think I went a little over, right, Martini? I get a little crazy talking about this stuff, right? But look, this is really important to me. And that's why I'm willing to stay here till 9 o'clock. I think I'm late for a dinner I'm going to go to, but this is important. I appreciate all your time as well for being here. Look, we've got Martini here, and I just figured I'd get her to click in for a couple minutes and so she can tell you next steps if you're interested in one of these last spaces. So Martini, over to you.
Yes, yes. So it's good to have everybody here on a Rockin' Wednesday. So thank you for choosing to spend some time with us today. And hopefully you walked away with some really good gems. And one thing that Brian said during the presentation, I think it was one of the recordings, was we are living in the most transformational time in human history. I mean, what an amazing time to be alive with all of the shifts that are happening right now. These are fun and exciting times, and they can be a little uncertain, right? And I know towards the beginning, Brian gave a little bit of a talk, it almost seemed a little bit of doom and gloom about what's going on with AI. But then when we take a look at, Zarka and some of the other investments that we're making in AI, it really gives a chance for us to really be a part of a greater part of this shift that's happening. So there's definitely hope, and there's definitely something amazing on the horizon if we choose to be on the right side of history. So if you guys are wanting to invest in these projects and invest in a better future, I definitely want to connect with you. And I know Brian mentioned, some of the heavy hitters who are in the investment club, which we do have quite a bit of them, a lot more advanced people, or people who are investing at a very high level. And at the same time, I don't want that to intimidate anyone who is new. So if you are new to investing, or some of this just doesn't seem like, I don't know what I'm doing, and it seems a little bit intimidating, don't worry about that. Like Brian says, if you're interested, we want you, if you got the good energy and you have a heart to want to invest and want to invest in a better future with yourself. So we are with you every single step of the way, and everybody in the investment club wants you to succeed, and they want you to be a part of this amazing shift in investing in our future as a collective, right? So for those of you who are interested in joining us in the investment club, I put some links inside of the chat below. So if you are wanting to just go ahead and take a look at everything that the investment club includes, it'll give you a little bit of a rundown of some of the things that you're going to be learning, some of the things that you're going to be experiencing, and how we can best support you on your journey. So while you're taking a look at the investment club page, go ahead and jot down a couple of notes or a couple of questions, and then go ahead and book a call with me. And of course, like once you go through the page and jot down your questions, the call will definitely go a lot smoother. And yeah, I can get a little Coliseum style, off with their heads, but normally it's a really good call. So go ahead and book a call with me. If you do not see a time that is available, because I know that we're spread out, all throughout the land, go ahead and send me a private message on Facebook and just let me know who you are, where you're from, and when is the best time to reach you in your time zone. And I'll definitely do my best to accommodate. Like Brian said, I never really sleep. I'm from Vegas, so we're always up, but it's not because I have to be, it's because I want to be. I want to connect with you guys, and I want you guys to transform your finances and to just evolve. So this is just truly a labor of love to do. So connect with me on Facebook. Let me know what time is available for you, and we'll definitely connect. And of course, there's always email, but to be honest, Facebook is always fastest way to get a hold of me. So hopefully you guys took away some amazing gems today, and don't leave it here, okay? Don't just say it was a great presentation and you just go on about your day. Seriously, take some serious thought into this and really consider how you want your future to look and how we can support you in fast tracking that generational wealth that you definitely deserve. All right, so I think I've said enough today. I hope to connect with you, and we definitely hope to see you on the next live call. Back to you, Brian.
All right, give it up for Martini, the one, the only, right? Making everything happen, right? Onboarding people, running the communities, and she's investing alongside everybody inside there as well. So again, book a call with her, but if you do, make sure you're serious, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Just want to say I really appreciate all the comments here. Joseph, Merrick, I see you in there. Some great comments here coming from a lot of people, given as well. It seems like these issues really resonated with you, which makes me really happy. Look, my final takeaway is this. The only reason I tell you the bad stuff is because I think it's good to get your attention to show you the good stuff. Also, wherever there's something bad, there's always something good, right? Technology is not innately bad. Drugs are not innately bad. It's the way that humans use these things. And so if you ever see something that's potentially dangerous, it's also potentially very benevolent if it's used by the right people. Folks, we're literally at a crossroads in human existence. If we don't get this right, it's over. It's over, right? It's over. And we're going to have to restart this civilization over. And so this is crucial what we do. And so find your why and then become a part of this with us. I'm telling you, once you get inside, it's amazing. The energy of these founders is off the hook. The group energy of the investment club is just absolutely fabulous. And you can really help us do something really important and be on this journey with us, maybe for the next 10 years. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And I just want to shout out Lynn and Ryan, who are members of our group right here, who came to the call. And again, they're just two of an amazing group of people that are here. And a thank you to everybody else who's been here and just engaged. And thanks to everybody turning their cameras on. I see all your beautiful faces and we appreciate you. So there you go. I'll keep dropping more AI interviews and I hope we see you on Thursday on the call. We've got so many things to do. By the way, we can still get you in on Zarka and Open. They haven't closed yet, but they are closing. So if you're interested, let Martini know and we can get you in on those deals, which we think are going to be game changers. And we're going to see more of those. We're seeing about 2 new opportunities every single month, which means another 12 for the rest of the year. And they're coming fast. And again, you can put as little as 5,000 into these or pass, or as much as 100 grand if you're one of those big spenders out there. So there you go, folks. Thank you so much. Sending you lots of love and I hope we see you on the next call. All right. Bye, everybody.